So welcome back to my YouTube channel. Those of you that are new here, welcome. If you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We're going to try to keep this thing going this year. I'm going to try my best to be consistent. I feel like that is what I am focused on, consistency and trusting in the Lord. So I wanted to get on here real quick and talk to you about some things that I learned last year in my year of being obedient. Some things that actually helped me to grow. So number one, I learned that one of the things that I wanted and desired for myself at that time was not actually what God desired for me at that time. Like, it was not His will for some of the things that I was desiring, which is why they were not working out. Because they were not working out, I learned to understand that it was because what God has for me is greater and far more than I can even imagine. I didn't quite understand it at that time, but now that I've learned spiritually and grown more, I understand that those things were not going to be good for me, and God sees the bigger picture. It was some pruning that I needed to go through in order to get those desires of my heart to be in alignment with God's will, so that way they would work out and I would not feel the way I felt. I would be able to see it more clearly. I would be able to understand, like, now, even it being a year later, I can see back and understand why those things were not fulfilled at that time. Another thing that helped me grow is that I stopped having high expectations in people. Sometimes we can get with certain people in relationships, romantic or friendships or work or whatever, and we can think that, well, they're not operating in the way that I would, or why aren't they doing, or you should do, when all you're doing is projecting on what you want and who you are and what you don't see in yourself. You're causing problems in that relationship because you want them to be somebody that they're not. Sometimes that is a clear sign that you need to do some self-work. You should be able to discern at that time with meeting someone and pursuing a relationship with them if they're going to be good for you or not, whether that's a friendship, a husband, a whatever romantic relationship. You should be able to determine soon if this is going to be good for you. And then if you're not sure about it, just go pray about it and God will show you. If you're in relationships with people and you're constantly trying to change them and mold them into something that they're not, then maybe it's a reflection that you need to do some work on yourself. That helped me tremendously. Another thing that I learned, how I want to show up for myself. I can remember, and I still do this, I still go to Pinterest and find inspiration and motivation for all areas of my life, but I can remember that I was not feeding into myself what I was giving out to other people. I was not pouring enough into me. I learned last year on how do I want to show up for anything. I don't care if I'm going to the grocery store. I don't care if I'm going to the mailbox. I don't care where I'm going. So when I say how do I want to show up, it doesn't mean just appearance. It means how I speak, how I dress, and what I entertain when I'm there. It's also how am I going to treat other people. So for me, showing up did not just mean how I looked on the outside and how I represented myself. So I started to do a whole process of elimination on myself. Like, what do I like? What do I not like? How do I want to dress? How do I not want to dress? I cleaned out my closet and gave away like 3 bags of clothes just because, not because I could not wear them. Well, some of them I could not wear, but for the most part, I gave away those items because I just don't see myself that way anymore. And it wasn't necessarily just bad. It was just, I don't see myself that way anymore. I'm going for a more modest, classy look. So I started showing up as my future self in my present. And it did not mean that I needed to go buy a whole new wardrobe or I needed to change my hair. It's on the inside. It's what you, it's that renewed mind that you get when you decide I'm going to do this. You start to think about things differently. Like, you change your perspective. And that's actually my next tip. With changing your perspective, I learned that no matter what situation I was in, because it was some that was extremely hard, I learned that what is the good in this? Okay, this situation may be bad. It may make me feel stressed a little. It may make me feel overwhelmed, but what is the good in this? How can I take this situation and find joy in it? I started changing my perspective on everything that I thought was bad, or everything that I thought was trying to take me under, or everything that I wanted and I was not getting at the time. I changed my perspective, and that changed my life. It also made me start to create boundaries, because if you change your perspective and you don't like something, instead of going along with it, you tell yourself, no, I don't like this. I don't like this. You have to be honest with yourself. I don't like this. So what are you going to do about it? Changing your perspective can cause you to create boundaries. And when you create boundaries, they're not for other people, which it is going to help other people learn to respect you and know how to treat you, but it's also for you. It's for you to know how to treat you, and for you to not just take anything, to stand up for something and to fight for yourself. Like, if you don't have boundaries, then people are going to run all over you. Boundaries can be scary. Like, when people think about it, they can feel like, oh, well, you're setting boundaries. That word can come off kind of intimidating, but it's more out of protection for you, to not get hurt, to not get ran over, to set limits with people. So creating boundaries is a good thing. Like, I didn't think that until I started learning how to say no to things, and I kind of eased into creating my boundaries without even knowing that that's what I was doing. And then once I realized that's what I was doing, I started studying it more, reading into it, and figuring out what areas of my life that I needed to create boundaries. And it was all of them. It was all areas of my life: my money, my job, my friends, my relationship with my son, boundaries with myself on how I treated myself. So it was all areas, and that helped me hold myself accountable and to grow. Which leads me to my last tip, which is kind of two things in one. It was self-discipline and having patience. Being self-disciplined, I was able to make decisions, to know there are things that I can control and things that I cannot control, which to me is self-discipline. If there's things that you cannot control, what are you going to do about it? For me, I pray about it and leave it there. The things that I can change, I do something about it. If you got to make out a list of things that you can change, then make out a list of things that you can change, something that you could do about this situation. Don't just sit and think, well, I can do this, and then not take action. If there's something you can do something about in your life, then do something. But if it's something that you can't, then you have to release it and let it go, or else it will completely stress you out. Take time and really process it, pray about it, and then decipher which thing you can do something about and which thing you cannot. Because you don't have to respond to these situations so quickly. Sometimes we respond out of anger or out of emotions, and that is not being self-disciplined. That is being immature. So when you're self-disciplined, you take your time with things. You take your time with how you respond. You take time to process things, and then you execute. And the people who really respect you and love you, they will understand this growth phase that you go through. They will understand it, and they will 100% support you. They will probably be there praying for you and helping you grow through this if they can, if it's something that they can do. As far as patience, I am still working on that one. I am still working on that one. I try not to focus on it too much, because I feel like there are situations that automatically bring us into being patient. But I am currently still working on that one. That is a hard one for me, because I am not a patient person. I am a person that if I want something done, or I want to do something, or I have an idea about this thing, I usually just go for it. Don't think twice about it. But this new version of me, this healing, spiritual, grown woman version of me, I am learning to be patient, because certain situations are teaching me that without me even trying. That is one that I'm still working on. I think that's one we'll always have to work on. So yeah, I'm not really going to elaborate on that one too much. I'm pretty much going to leave that where it is. But I just wanted to get on here real quick and give you some tips on some things that helped change my life within a year. And these are inside jobs. This is not something that you can go out and find somewhere else. Like, you have to do the work. And if you need to go to therapy, go to therapy. I went to therapy. My therapist is amazing. She helped me see things from a different point of view without it making me feel attacked. So go to therapy. These things are going to help you grow and become the person you want to be. But if you don't take nothing else from this video, please learn how to change your perspective with the situations and the things that you go through in life. I promise you, it will change your life, because you can have joy if you choose to. That's all I have to say. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. I love you all, and God bless. Until next time, peace.